Hey there, GolfCask Nation. This is Brian Bailie here, bringing you a new series called Deep Pours Inside the Barrel with GolfCask, right? This is actually requested by two members inside of GolfCask. They said they love the blind tastings, learn a lot from it. They enjoy the tastings, but they would like to see more information about the distiller and any notes or anything that we know about that, as well as, you know, kind of do a tasting note. So I figured I would go straight out the barrel with a Silkie Red, which is an Irish whiskey, triple distilled, like all great Irishes for the most part, but this actually has a peat smoke flavor to it. So let's dive in here and talk more about Silkie. I went ahead and poured it, so before we start talking too much, let's look at our actual legs. Get a little bit of nosing there, see if we can see some legs action there. You can see really wide and slow legs. So when we know the legs are wide and slow, we know it's high proof. This is cask strength. This is coming in at 63.67%. So that's 127 proof. Really, really high proof whiskey, right? So, whoo boy, I'm gonna have to put my big boy pants on today. So what is Silkie? Where does it come from? Silkie is in the Donegal area of Ireland, which is the western part of the country, where you get the big majestic cliffs overlooking the Atlantic. Spectacular, beautiful part of the country. My friend Gareth McShay took me and another buddy Lorcan to a bunch of different distilleries in October of 2023, and he has a house out in the western part of the country that we were able to stay at as well. So spectacular, spectacular, beautiful distillery. They light up their big pot stills. They have 3 of them with big swung nets sitting there, and they light them up at night. It looks like it's a beautiful building. Graham McDowell, who is their head distiller, actually opened it up Sunday morning for us and gave us a true tour. I'm a huge black licorice fan, and when you walk in, man, that is all, you just got waves and waves of black licorice smell, which is spectacular, and you actually get a little of that in the nose as well. So they're in the Donegal area, Slieve League area, you know, a well-known cliff section inside of Ireland, spectacular beauty. Small little towns, just a fun place to visit, and again, a spectacular whiskey. Region-wise, again, it's Irish, it is triple distilled, but it is a blended whiskey. It's not a single malt, but it is blended malt, so it is a malted barley. I believe they use anywhere from 4 to 6 different whiskeys inside of it, so age statement, couldn't really find a good age statement. I saw anywhere from 4 to 12 years, and they're coming out of barrels that are either virgin, like first use barrels, bourbon, sherry, red wine, Arozo, port. So they have a bunch of different barrels that the blender will come in and actually kind of produce the actual final bottle. So this is a blended whiskey. So again, if you see single malt, it means it's a single grain, single malt, from one distiller, one pour. When it's blended, they can bring in a bunch of different whiskeys to create, and the beauty of a blended whiskey is it can only be aged as the youngest whiskey. So there's no age statement on this, but like I said, I saw anywhere from 4 to 12 years, so we'll just say it's roughly a 4-year whiskey. Color-wise, you can see it's kind of an amber red, so there's definitely some age in there. How much is that is actually from the wine barrels and all that, that's a piece as well. But again, to me, this is a really, really, of the Silkie product, I think this was my favorite by far, and the fact that they had it in cask strength, just, you know, I like a high proof whiskey, that was just spectacular. So on the nose, what do we get? We definitely get malt. I'm getting floral, a little bit of fruit, but I'm also getting some of that black licorice smell. Man, my taste buds are going. So again, let's dive in here, and I'm actually getting maybe a little of that port smell as well, or definitely some wine. But it's definitely layers, and this is what I like about a good whiskey. I'm getting levels, different levels and different kind of outreaches of different flavors. So let's dive in here and see what it tastes like. First sip is always your primer. And for 127 proof, it does not drink like a 127 proof. You better be careful. I definitely get a lot of malt. I get some fruit, kind of red fruits, kind of sweet fruits, so maybe strawberry-ish, but it's kind of that sweeter red fruit. I'm getting different layers here. I'm getting definitely licorice, getting floral. I'm not a huge floral fan, but it's not so much floral that it's overpowering. It's just kind of in the background. And I'm definitely getting smoke. You know, I'm not a big smoke fan. Peated is hard for me, but it's enough peat to see it, taste it, understand it's there, but it's not so much that it becomes the overriding factor that kind of bludgeons out every other taste. But overall, again, really, really fine malt whiskey here. And again, we know Irish, this is actually triple distilled. That means they run it through the distilling process 3 times. You go from low wines as your first run into heavily distilled, and then you run it a 3rd time because most Irish whiskeys are doing it. Not so much to amp up alcohol proof, but more of trying to get impurities out of the system, because what you do know for Irish whiskeys is they tend to be friendly. They tend to be a little smoother. And again, that's because they are triple distilled. So overall, we'll have to do our finish with this and then we'll rate it. You get a little hint of the ethanol, and then it kicks out quick. I mean, for a high proof whiskey, this does not drink like a high proof whiskey. Finish is probably, I would call it medium, a little bit dry, but it's refreshing. My mouth isn't completely dried out, but again, it's high proof. I'm getting some of those tones again. I'm still getting a little bit of black licorice. I'm definitely getting smoke. I'm getting kind of that fruity floral note as well. So it kind of the tastes kind of go from the nose all the way through to the finish. So a very good whiskey in the fact that it doesn't really surprise you with a bunch of flavors that you couldn't even nose or taste, or the finish just doesn't taste like any of it. It literally takes those 3 flavors with you the entire time. And to me, again, I think this is the perfect amount of aged and smoke inside of an Irish peat. It's not a Scottish peat, it's an Irish peat. They ship it over and get their malt burnt with the peat from Ireland, but again, they're getting ready to do that in-house in Donegal soon. So again, really, really high-class whiskey. The name Silkie, I don't know if you can see it on the bottle, that is named after the mermaids. So the mermaids used to lull the sailors into the rocks, especially in the western part of Ireland. So they pay tribute to the Silkie, which is a siren that used to beautiful women that are, I guess, half fish, half woman, that would have men do really dumb stuff and slam their ship into the rocks. Just like, most of us men have had run-ins where it's happened to us maybe on land. So the beauty of it, again, a really good whiskey, really great place to go visit. The western part of Donegal of the country is just beautiful. Nancy's, which is a pub right around the corner that we actually certified, spectacular place. I encourage anyone that can go to Ardara, which is where Sleeve Leave is at, also AKA the Silkie Distillery. I encourage you to go. I get no money from that, but it was a really fun time, something enjoyable to do with friends and family. Ranking wise, I would have to say, because I'm not a big peat fan, blended with a bunch of different whiskeys. So blended, I'm much more of a single grain or kind of not so much a blended whiskey fan. I'm going to surprise you on this one. I'm going to go 4. This one doesn't drink high proof. It is a malt, but it brings in a bunch of different flavors that you typically don't see with a malt. And again, it's really, really high proof, but it drinks like a 90. It drinks really, really well. So tip of the cap to everyone there in Silkie for creating a great product. I look forward to bringing you more of these episodes in the weeks to come. Thank you for the advice. Again, if you have interests or certain whiskeys, or there's a whiskey on my shelf you want me to run through, let me know. But again, great job, Hill Silkie. Thank you so much, GolfCask, for spending time with us. So again, I rank this a 4. Nose, I would go 4. Taste, I would go 4. Finish, probably 3.5. But it's nothing that's going to pull away from the first 2 scores. So we'll call this a 4 across the board. And awesome. If you get a chance to find Silkie Red, or hey, get a chance to come by the GolfCask Speakeasy, I'll be more than happy to give you a pour. Have a good day. Cheers.